buccal, which is exactly the way I have it up here. So if I'm tying tooth number 3, my buccal cusps are going to be approximately the same size. So I would start with those first. Those are the easy ones. There we go. My mesiolingual cusp is the largest one. That comes way over here. And my distal buccal cusp, or distal lingual cusp, is the smallest. So it looks something like this. So it's equal, so more or less right here. Very unequal on the lingual side. All right. So when I carve, this is where it's critical. When I carve, this is how I carve. I start with my buccal groove, and it comes straight into the tooth. And I carve this into the tooth, and it doesn't quite come to the center. It's not going to come quite center. So that's my first groove. My second groove is my distal lingual groove. And it's going to go past center. It's going to go past the center. There we go. Just like this. All right. I'm not going to do my central groove just yet, because my philosophy is that should create itself. It should create itself when we're clearing our triangular ridges. If our toe is where we want our central groove to be every time, as we carve, as long as our toe is slightly down, has a little bit of pressure, it should carve itself. It should happen naturally. So I'm not going to draw the central groove just yet. I'm going to now add some of my supplemental grooves. Not all of them. I'm going to add my supplemental groove here. Okay. I'm going to add my supplemental groove here. And here. Okay. Getting ready for my fossas. I'm going to stop with that for now. Okay, so the next thing that I carve, all the teeth that I have for you guys are MOs. Okay, I'm hoping that that's what most of you have done. Okay, getting lots of nods, that's a good thing. So on the mesial aspect, this is not an official term, this is just my term. Okay, I carve a stop sign because I'm going to restore this mesial marginal ridge here, and I want to be sure that I don't flatten my marginal ridge and make it too short. So I carve a stop sign. And that stop sign is about 2 millimeters in from the outside of the tooth, and it's right here. And it outlines the last part of my fossa. Okay. It outlines the last part of that fossa. Okay. The other one's back here. Because we're not restoring the distal marginal ridge, I don't make stop signs in the distal. I only make it where I'm restoring the marginal ridge. Okay, so I'm only making that stop sign in the mesial. I just completed the fossa in the distal section. All right. Questions about this so far?
I don't see the stop sign.
This right here, this groove that I will carve will be my stop sign.
Okay.
Okay. So it's going to be, I call it a stop sign because it's indicating where I need to stop.
Gotcha.
So that I don't go over the marginal
I
ridge
was
and
going
make
with
it.
the
But it's not a hexagon.
Yeah, it's not a hexagon, yes.
I don't get it.
And no, it's okay. You're not the first person to think that. You're not the first person to think that.
You're not the first person I've confused.
So anyway, that's okay. I'm glad you said something. Thank you. Other questions before I move on? Okay. So, all right. So now I've got this part laid out. And before I move on, I'm just going to indicate where my central groove is. So that just goes, I'm going to go from fossa, I'm going to play connect the dots, fossa to buccal groove to fossa. That's all it is. And it doesn't matter what fossa you start at. You're going to end up in the same place. You can start at the mesial, you can start at distal. Doesn't matter. You're going to get the same thing. All right. I'm going to go back to my supplemental groove real quick. So my supplemental groove that separates my transverse ridge from my oblique ridge is approximately in the center of that mesiolingual cusp. We need something there to define the two triangular ridges. So it's going to be about like so, about halfway. Okay? all the spaces. So that this is those are just our triangular ridges. So we have triangular ridge here, makes transverse with the lingual side, distal buccal, makes an oblique ridge with the mesiolingual, and we have our little bag right there. So we just filled up all the spaces. There should be no empty spaces. Okay. But now what we can see is, I'm going to draw it in this lime green color, is that we have, oops, I forgot something. We need two more supplemental groups. We need this one right here, and this one right here. And these are pretty distinct on the Kilgore type and on that buccal side. Those are easy to find. Those are easy to create. Okay, which is why I make a big deal about them on Kilgore. Okay. So now that we have our supplemental grooves in, I'm going to play connect the dots again. I'm going to go from point to point to point to point. And that's where our central fossa will be. So it'll be kind of triangular shaped. So we're going to go from point to point to point and back. I used to go out to eat at a lot of different places with friends, and we'd find different ethnic places to go. And whenever they had butcher paper on the table, we'd always sit there and draw teeth all over the table. And the waiters probably thought we were a little crazy, but it was the only way we could get the anatomy to stick and to remember how to carve it. So anyway, and I'm going to indicate with my eye bars our oblique ridge, our transverse ridge. I didn't put little chevrons there, but our marginal ridges as well. There we go. Now we have a maxillary tooth. These are all the important elements that you will need to have for this tooth. And I just tried to break it down very simply. Hopefully it was simple. So we're going to carve our buccal and lingual grooves first. We're going to carve stop signs, so that's the new addition. We're going to carve stop signs in the which is right here. We're going to we're going to make our triangular ridges, keeping our toe in our central groove. It'll make itself. We'll make some supplemental grooves. I will demonstrate that. You'll see it. Okay. Questions about this tooth? I just don't want to take too long on this particular part of the thing, but part of the